bombshell in the Casey Anthony murder trial. The judge has just disqualified himself from the case. Issues was the first to bring you the news Friday night that Casey's defense had filed a motion late Friday afternoon asking Judge Stan Strickland to step down. They claimed he's friendly with a blogger who has, quote, relentless pro-prosecution bias. The defense is referring to this man, Dave Neckel, a.k.a. Marinade Dave. And here he is at one of Casey's hearings. Neckel says Judge Stan Strickland complimented him on his blog and also called him on the phone to wish him well when he was sick. Neckel insists his blog is totally fair and impartial. He called the defense motion, quote, a dirty stall tactic. Filthy is more like it. He said the move, quote, smacks of desperation, end quote. Then, in a stunning move just a couple of hours ago, the judge grants the defense motion and steps down. His order was dripping with anger and sarcasm. He wrote, quote, at its core, defense counsel's motion accuses me of being a self-aggrandizing media hound. Indeed, the irony is rich. Motion granted. Casey is charged with murdering her daughter, Kaylee, way back in October of 2008. Even before this, the trial wasn't slated to start until the spring of next year. Now, what's going to happen? Is this throwing the entire case into total chaos? Straight out to my fantastic expert panel. HLN law enforcement analyst Mike Brooks, criminal defense attorney J.D. Weintraub, criminal defense attorney Mark Eiglarsh, and we begin with Beth Karras, correspondent for In Session, our sister network, True TV. Beth, what can you tell us about the new judge, Belvin Perry?
Well, Belvin Perry would have received this trial if Judge Stan Strickland didn't hold on to it. It was decided that Strickland, when he was moving into the civil division, would hold on to it because he had started with the case. He didn't ask for it. He was told to stick with it. It would have gone to Belvin Perry months ago when Strickland moved out of the criminal division. Belvin Perry's been around for a long time. I covered a case where he was the judge in the 1990s, a death penalty case. He's a no-nonsense judge. He wants the lawyers who appear before him to be prompt and to be prepared.
Do you think he's going to be tougher than Strickland?
Yes. I think he'll be tougher than Strickland, although both are equally knowledgeable about the law. It's just that Strickland lets the lawyers make their arguments. He's extremely patient. And lawyers who have appeared before him, including Brad Conway, who represents George and Cindy Anthony, have told me this. That's been Conway's experience in front of Belvin Perry, that Strickland is perhaps a little more patient. Perry is be prompt, be prepared, and I don't think he's going to stand for a lot of argument.
I guess everybody's trying to figure out, Mark Eiglarsh, is this a brilliant move on the part of the defense, or will it boomerang and bite them? To put it bluntly, what now? What is going to happen now? I mean, it was going to be a year before we got to this case anyway. Doesn't this put us back at square one?
No, the next judge will
to a certain degree.
The next judge will step in, and I think this was completely ill-advised. This judge, Judge Strickland, gave the defense wide latitude to do what they needed to do in court. I think it was transparent what the defense did, and that's why there was the sarcasm in the order. Legally, the judge had to do it by agreeing to this motion. He's not saying that anything the defense is saying is truthful. What he's saying under the law here in Florida is that it's legally sufficient, that you have met the requirements under the law, and thus I have to recuse myself.
Mark Eiglarsh, are you telling me, Mark Eiglarsh, that this new judge can, with the complicated case that we've been talking about for almost 2 years, with so many characters that you need a playbook, you're telling me that this new judge is just going to pick up where this judge left off? No problem. We're going to move on. We're still going to go trial in May of 2011. Give me a break.
Half of that is yes, half of it is a no. This will not go to trial in May. Newsflash, everybody. It's not going to trial, but it wasn't going to go to trial even if it was Judge Strickland, for many reasons.
No, in May of 2011. Okay.
It's not going in 2011. I'm telling you, it's not going to go in 2011.
Well, what I'm saying is, it's still, now it's even worse. I mean, Mike Brooks, do you get my point?
Oh, absolutely. But I agree with Mark. Mark and I have been working on this case for a long time, and I agree. this judge is just, I think he's going to just pick up the pace. And again, it could have backfired on the defense team because, as Beth said, this guy, and I've talked to people down in Florida today, this guy is no nonsense. So, no, you know what? It wasn't going to go to May 2011 to begin with, Jane. You know, that was the schedule that Judge Strickland wanted to have, but I don't think it was going to happen then either, because there's a lot of things that, and a lot of motions that they keep getting filed. It wasn't going to go then either.
All I'm saying is it's going to be even more delayed.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Charlotte, Florida, thank you. Your question or thought, man.
Hi, Jane. My question, I don't really have a question. I'm here in Orlando. I know Judge Strickland. I know the other judge who's just been appointed. Judge Strickland was incredibly fair. I believe that the defense has shot themselves in the foot, and they are going to pay for it. Casey, they were searching for Kaylee a mile from my house, so I have seen almost everything go on in this case from the very beginning. I'm sorry that Judge Strickland is off the case, because he strikes me as an extremely fair, patient judge. And I do believe, as you all have stated, that Judge Perry is going to be tougher. And perhaps they have really, really messed themselves up by doing this. I don't think Jose Baez and his team has a lot of experience, even though they put Cheney Mason on board and Mrs. Bodden.
Well, I think you're making some important points. In his order, the judge, Strickland, was extremely sarcastic in describing his brief interaction with this blogger in court. Quote, comments to the blogger journalist delivered secretly, I think that was sarcastically, in open court with open mics in front of rolling TV cameras and with all counsel present was indeed a compliment. He basically is saying, J.D. Weintraub, that he made this sort of offhand comment to this blogger in open court. It was not a big deal. It happened a long time ago. Everybody saw it. Everybody knew it. And then suddenly, on Friday, the defense decides to make an issue out of it. How do you respond?
Well, first of all, I think that Jose Baez had to file the motion to recuse, because it isn't whether or not these things happened. It's whether or not there was an appearance of impropriety, whether or not Casey Anthony, the accused, perceives that she can get a fair trial. And no reasonable person would think that they could get a fair trial when the judge has filed a bar complaint against their lawyer, which was found to be unfounded. And number two, when he went and talked about, according to the affidavit, when he talked about setting the trial after he's reelected. So we're having outside influences appear or come into play where it has no business. So Casey Anthony obviously was in fear she wouldn't get a fair trial.
Well, what about the opinion of a lot of people who are in the know that this could be the worst decision, because now a stricter judge is going to take his place and could be offering less leniency and compassion to the defendant?
It couldn't have been any different than it is. I mean, that's the way our justice system works. And the bottom line is he had no choice, because had he not filed a motion to disqualify, down the road, if things do not go well, he might be accused of not providing adequate representation and filing a well-founded motion.
Mark Eiglosh, your response.
Way too risky. They spun the wheel of justice, hoping to get Judge Liberal, who somehow is okay with women who don't report their child missing. They made a bad move, and in trial, he's going to hold Jose Baez very tight, and the defense is not going to have the liberal go of the courtroom like they had during all the motions.
All right, everybody. Okay, stay right where you are. More on today's shocking news as the judge in the Casey Anthony case steps down. How is this going to affect the case? We're taking your calls on this. 1-877-JVM says, 1-877-586-7297. Plus, a